What is going on, everybody? Willis Gaming here. We are back again with another Division 2 video. In this video, guys, I'm going to be showing you my pretty insane LMG build. It does so much damage. It's freaking awesome. So, like I said, in this video, I'll be showing the build, all the stuff you need if you want to copy this build. And yeah, if you haven't done so already, guys, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with bell notifications turned on, so you do not miss a video. Winner from last video's Division 2 giveaway will be on screen right now. If you'd like a chance at winning a copy of the game, I give away a copy every single video. Feel free to leave a like on the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. This is optional, you don't have to do this. But yeah, let's just get straight into the build. So, it's an LMG build, you probably guessed that much. It revolves around using the classic M60, one of the best light machine guns in the game. And I'll show you basically how this build works, and it's kind of different than, I guess, the usual meta of just running like full crit, full, just like crit damage. It's a pretty nice build, and it actually uses pulse, and I'll get into that in a bit, but pulse is like back. Pulse is pretty nuts with this build, and like I said, I'll show you why in a minute. So let's explain like where the damage comes from in this build. So, one of the main factors of getting damage is on the ropes. Now, with a few nerfs to all of the other perks, this is probably the best backpack perk potentially you can get. I mean, where is it? Safeguard's still pretty good, but it doesn't really give you damage. But we're going to be using the Gila Guard backpack, and I actually have on the ropes, which basically means weapon damage is increased by 25% while all skills are on cooldown. Now you can kind of see where that's going with the pulse ability, and I'm actually using 3 Gila Guard pieces. So I have the Gila Guard backpack, the Gila Guard mask, and the Gila Guard holster. Now there's a lot of stuff I could change with this build. I am missing certain things, which, like I said, I'll show you in a bit, where it could be improved by a ton. But this build hits insanely hard, and it's got my seal of approval. So yeah, definitely try and copy this build if you can. So let's just start off with the gas mask. So I have a Gila Guard gas mask. Gila Guard's really good because it gives you 15% pulse skill power, and this actually buffs the damage on spotter. 10% weapon damage to pulsed enemies. Now this is a bit tricky to activate. You will need 5 utility or yellow skill power traits on your gear, and like I said, this build is not based around crit, so yeah, if you can, try and get a Gila Guard with spotter. I got extremely lucky. I'm running a blue and I'm running a yellow. This doesn't really matter, all the perks you're seeing here are pretty much just used to activate these abilities. So I'm running spotter, Gila Guard mask, and yeah, let's move on to the chest piece. So here's where the more damage comes from as well. We're using the Summit brand. You can use what you want. Honestly, this doesn't matter. If you can find one with like LMG damage, if you can find a chest piece with LMG damage, use that. I'm only using this just because it rolled with Unstoppable Force, and it's very important that we need 1 red on this chest piece. No more reds. We're only going to be able to use a maximum of 3 reds on this build, so 3 offensive thingies, what are they called? I don't even know. The red circles, no more than 3 on this build. It's very important. I've got 8% weapon damage, 10% cooldown reduction, and Unstoppable Force. So killing an enemy grants 2% weapon damage for every 10,000 max armor. This is probably one of the most damaging abilities in the game. It's nuts. I think it's worked out with my 191k armor to be like 38.2%, I think, damage when I kill an enemy. Really good, like insanely good. Using 3 blue mods on this as well, which contributes to my 7 blue, 7 yellow, and 3 red. Moving on to the holster. Not the greatest holster, but I'm using a Gila Guard holster just to make the 3 brand set bonus, which gives me 15% pulse skill power. Not running any mods because they are offensive slots, so that would put me over my limit. I'm using a blue health bonus and a yellow skill power bonus. So we've already covered the backpack. Pretty much you've got on the ropes 25% weapon damage when all your skills are on cooldown, and you've got hard hitting 15% damage to elites. 1 blue mod and 1 yellow mod. Moving on to the gloves. Now this is a required pair of gloves. Try and get these gloves. So weapon damage is increased by 15% when your critical hit chance is below 20%. It's the Araldi Holdings, 10% accuracy. I've got 10% LMG damage, and I'm not running any mods. Compensated does so much damage. Like, if you're not running a crit build, it's what you want to be running, trust me. Moving on to the knee pads, we have the Fenris knee pads with 10% assault rifle damage. So this is what I wanted to mention. If you can get a pair of knee pads with LMG damage and 1 blue, that's ideal. I'm still awaiting a pair of knee pads. That obviously gives me 10% LMG, but for now I'm just running this just so I can get the 1 blue, and it actually rolled with hard hitting and patience. So this is the best pair of knee pads I could be using right now, just because it basically puts me at my 773, which I need for this build. So yeah, obviously with Unstoppable Force, you need 7 or more blue. Now, it is a bit tricky to do. I had to do a bit of switching around to make this pretty much. So if you can, try and, I guess, get pieces that let you. Obviously I've got 2 yellow, 1 blue on this. It's really weird, but I managed to like perfect it and just balance it perfectly, so I'm able to have all perks activated. So I got Spotter, Unstoppable Force, and the gloves. Obviously I've got Compensated and On the Ropes, but you can make this build work honestly with just On the Ropes and Unstoppable Force. The Pulse is sort of like a bonus, which I managed to do, but Pulse is nuts. So let's show you how to do, or basically do, damage on this build. So yeah, let's head over to the firing range. I'll show you what I have on my M60, which is very important too. I've got Unhinged, so you have 25% increased weapon damage at the cost of 35% weapon handling. I wish I had Allegro on this for extra rate of fire, but I'm still awaiting a M60 drop with like rate of fire or Unhinged. I actually got one earlier that dropped with Unhinged, but it didn't have Allegro. You can use the military one, but honestly the classic just has a higher base damage, and it just does a ton more damage. And obviously the passive perk on LMGs, which gives you 15% increased damage out of cover, and it actually rolled with recharge as well, which is really awesome. For the mods I'm using on the LMG, I'm using 8% damage to elites, 20% reload speed, 7% critical hit chance from the specialist tree. Before we actually head to the firing range as well, I want to show you the specialist class, what I'm using. I'm actually using Demolitionist, so this is super important too. You probably guessed why, just because of the 15% increased damage for light machine guns. Like, I tried using the sharpshooter, but honestly it's much better to run this. Two, because you get crisis response, so when your armor depletes, it refills your magazine, and I found that this is just 100 times better. So definitely use Demolitionist if you can. So yeah, let's head back to the firing range, and we're going to test out the damage and stuff. Bear in mind, like I said, I don't have much elite damage on this build, so most of the builds you see on YouTube, people just basically cap out their elite damage, and obviously they do a ton of damage. Unstoppable Force is not being activated in here. I'm pretty sure Spotter as well isn't being activated because I'm not getting the bonus. But let's just shoot some stuff. You guys want to see me shoot some stuff. I'm probably going to leave some gameplay at the end of this video as well to show you the damage you can do to just enemies in the open world. One more thing to note as well, sorry, I know you guys are probably getting annoyed at this point, but you've noticed I'm not 500 because 450 builds are still viable. I have all the pieces required to be 500, but you honestly don't need to be 500 in World Tier 5. You still do a ton of damage. But yeah, let's just shoot stuff. So, starting off, obviously you want to pulse. All the enemies are pulsed, and any enemies that you pulse take 10% increased damage. Throw down any second ability, like a Seeker Drone or like a healing, to activate On the Ropes, and just start going ham. Now you're noticing that I'm doing like 50, 54k, 90k on the crit. Oh, here's one more thing as well I forgot to mention. I'm using the Merciless Exotic rifle for the side perk Brutality. While hosted, landing a shot has a 5% chance to deal 20% damage as explosive damage. It's honestly not worth it using, where is it, Chatterbox, just because it takes too long to reload LMGs, and it's just not worth it. But yeah, shooting stuff, let's go. It's pretty nice. Bear in mind, like I said, we don't have Unstoppable Force activating in here, which is one thing that I wish it was one thing they would add to the game where you could actually get like those perks active. Obviously you can't activate Chatterbox in here either, so for all the other builds and stuff. But it's a pretty nice build. It's pretty stable as well. It's not like it's completely wild, shooting like all over the place. It's really awesome. So I'm going to leave you guys with some gameplay now of this build in some action in the open world. Let me know if you guys make this build. Leave a comment down below if you've got any improvements to make. Obviously, I'd like to get a pair of knee pads that give me LMG damage. I'd like to roll Allegro on my M60. It still does nuts damage. 27.5k damage with 500 RPM is crazy. So let's just go over all the damage buffs we're getting in total just from like shooting enemies. So you got 15% damage from the passive LMG. You got 25% damage from unhinged. 10% damage from pulsing enemies. You've got another, I think I worked this out to be 38.2% damage from killing an enemy. You've got 15% increased damage from compensated, and you've got 25% increased damage from on the ropes, and obviously you've got elite damage in the background doing its work. So yeah, Pulse is kind of back. Honestly, if you can get that perk I had on my gas mask, the spotter perk, run Pulse, because Pulse is now viable. I'm using the, where is it? The one where it literally just pulses the whole room. It's really good. Obviously, when they are pulsed, you're not getting the damage from on the ropes. But as soon as your pulse runs out, that's when you start getting on the ropes. Obviously, you want to pop a second ability. So, you can use like a chem launcher. You can use chem launcher and just put them on the ground. Pulse. You'll see when I pulse here, you can see all the enemies and stuff. Now, as soon as Pulse runs out, you'll see in a few seconds here. Now, you can shoot enemies like this when you want, obviously, because you'll get the damage from Pulse. But as soon as Pulse runs out, I get on the ropes activated. There you can see it activate, and I get even more damage. So while everything is pulsed, you get an increased amount of damage, and you can see enemies through walls and stuff. And then when it runs out, you get on the ropes, which gives you a ton of damage. 25% increased damage when your Pulse runs out. Crazy. Obviously, make sure you're popping just your healing and stuff. You don't have to pop all three. You can just pop one and just start shooting. If you have the med kit as well, so obviously you're taking damage, right? Enemies shoot you, take damage, and you heal up. Now, when you heal, there's a perk in Demolitionist where when you heal, you get like, look at this, laser beam accuracy from the med kits. So if you're like damaged, you heal, get back up, and you're gonna have laser beam accuracy. That's one of the perks in the specialist tree for Demolitionist, where you pretty much just, yeah, you laser people. It's crazy. So the perk is called, where is it? Up here on the right. It's called X-Stat Armor Kit. Armor Kits repair 70% damage and boost weapon handling by 100% for 15 seconds. On completion, an additional 30% repair occurs. So yeah, Demolitionist 100% for this build. Classic M60 Pulse build. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you make this build. Like I said, I'd love to see some variations of it. If you guys have anything to make it better, like I said, sound off in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys. Make sure to turn on the bell notifications as well. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.